presentation you just heard from Andrew. I've had the pleasure of meeting Andrew on several occasions. We both have a very, very similar background. There's a bit of a theme coming here from being a teacher to then working in the IT industry. And look, everything that Andrew just presented, I highly endorse. In fact, this presentation that I've got for you is kind of like a complementary addition to what Andrew was sharing, just with more of a focus on Adobe rather than Microsoft. But I tell you what, Microsoft and Adobe are such great partners together that our software works so well together, and it's just a real pleasure to be with all of you this morning. Now, I'm coming to you from the Kulin Nation in the heart of the Wurundjeri people, often referred to as Melbourne. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land in which we all meet today. And I also pay my respects to their elders past and present. Now, look, one of the great pleasures, let's just identify, that's where I am. Now you can see where I'm from. One of the great pleasures I have of working in the IT industry is occasionally getting to give away some pretty cool prizes. And look what I've got in store for you guys today. One very lucky student can choose to either get an Adobe Creative Cloud package for 12 months. So that's worth nearly $1,000. But of course, if you're part of the New South Wales Department of Education, if you're a government school student, you already have it. So you probably don't need it unless you're in year 12 and you're about to lose it, then you might want to get it. Otherwise, what you don't necessarily have at the moment is Adobe stock. So I'm going to give away about close to $500 worth of Adobe stock. That's photos, illustrations, vectors, videos, audios, templates, 3D assets that you can use in your production. So to get access to one of those prizes, have a listen carefully to what I'm about to present, and then I'll be sharing a question later on for you to answer and a QR code for you to scan so that you can put your answer in, and you will see who is the winner, and as soon as Big Day In's finished today, I will email the winner. So good luck. Now, folks, I have spent 23 years as a teacher in Melbourne. That's a little bit longer than Andrew, I think, but that's because I'm a little bit older than him. And I was a primary teacher, I was a secondary teacher, I was even a higher education lecturer for a while, and I loved every day of it. It's definitely one of the most rewarding jobs anyone could have, but also one of the most challenging jobs. And I found that a career in education has been a fabulous background for the IT industry because it's about working with people. It's about problem solving. Teaching's about collaboration, believe it or not. It's about creativity, and it's really very much about communication, all vital skills that you develop as a teacher I'm now using in the IT industry. And I've been at Adobe as their senior education specialist for the last 8 years. So 23 years as a teacher, 8 years with Adobe. I think you kind of can work out how old I am now. One of the many great things about working in the IT industry is the diverse range of ages and life experiences of the people that I get to work with. In my team, we have interns who are still at university in their early 20s. And we've even got some people in my team who are, and not many of them, but are actually older than me. We come from all sorts of academic backgrounds like law degrees, business degrees, economic degrees, arts degrees, computer science degrees. Some of our team actually have never been to university and had a formal academic background, but they're really good with people. They're really good with technology, and they love learning new skills all the time. They also go and do lots of little courses and get micro credentials along the way. And that's something that universities are taking up really seriously now, and just coming up with lots of ways of you to get short little qualifications to help you improve your skills. Not just universities, private training providers are doing that as well, which is really fantastic. And then there's me. ex-primary teacher, ex-secondary teacher, ex-university lecturer, and ex-school administrator. Now, I want to find out a bit about you. So I want you to scan this code. This isn't the prize code just yet. We'll do that a little bit later. But I want you to scan this code with your phone or your tablet device. And I want to find out your responses to a few range statements. And they'll come up on your phone in a minute, and I'll bring the results across into the shared screen in a sec as soon as we get a few people putting in their responses. So the first statement is, I know what I want to do for a job in the future. I want to get your ideas. You give me a strongly disagree to a strongly agree, and anywhere in between in that continuum, from strongly disagree right through to strongly agree, or anywhere in between. I already earn money doing what I'm passionate about. I want to find out that too. That's the second range statement. So go ahead and scan that QR code. If you're having trouble with the QR code, there is a link you can type in. It's minty.com, and then there's a code 21275794. That'll get you onto it as well. So try either one of those approaches. And we're starting to get some responses now. As soon as I get or maybe 10 or more responses, I'll bring them across to the share screen so we can see. The third range statement, I work well with a team. The fourth one, I think I am creative. The next one, I have a passion for coding. And then there's, I have a passion for design. And then there's the last one is, I'm encouraged to use Adobe applications at my school. So they're all the different range statements. I just want to get a response. Do you strongly disagree with that? Or do you strongly agree with that? And we've got 4 people who've completed, 5 people now, so we're getting close to it. Hopefully we'll get a few more. As soon as we get about 10, I'm going to share the answers to those statements. So hurry up and scan that code, get into your phone and fill out your responses to those range statements. And I think we're going to run out of time if I keep waiting. We've got 7 people now, so I'm going to bring it across to the screen. You can still see the code there, minty.com in the code if you still need it. But let's have a look at some of the results. From the first range statement, I know what I want to do for a job in the future. We've got a fair range here, and most of you kind of agree with that. 2 of you not sure, 2 of you disagree with that. But it's interesting to see that most of you tend to know what you want to do in the future, and that's really cool. But it's pretty unusual. Usually I find it's often the other way around. We've got one person now who's strongly disagrees. So it's great to see that you've got confidence as to where you're heading in the future. But the reality is that at your age, there is so much to consider and so many opportunities for you to consider. And really, it's interesting to think that so many of you now agree that you know what I want to do, and that's great, but it's not really essential. What you need to be doing now is just developing life skills and getting yourself prepared for whatever the future has to play. So quite a range statement there to look at. The next one is, I already earn money doing what I'm passionate about. None of you have strongly agreed. One person has agreed, one person sort of in the middle, most of you disagreed. Now that's interesting, and it's often the response I get to when I pose that statement. But every so often, and maybe this one person here is an example of this, every so often I come across these young people who are already starting to set up their own little startup companies while they're still at school. And that is so cool. If you can create your own little business while you're at school, we'll talk about a little bit more about that a little bit later. Amazing. Next one, I work well with a team. Oh, so pleased to see that the bulk of you agree with that. Only one person strongly disagrees with that. Oh, that one person, I encourage them to try and develop those teamwork skills. Such an important part of your future, no matter what you do in the future, to be working in a team. Listen to what Andrew was saying about all the things that he does with his teams at Microsoft. Then I think I am creative, and we've got most of you who tend to agree with that, which is really cool. 2 of you who disagree, one strongly, about being creative, and that's important. We'll talk about why that's important a little bit later. Coding. Right across the board there, we've got people from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and coding's great, but it's not essential in terms of the IT industry. A lot of people think if I'm going to work in the IT industry, I need to know about coding. Well, it's good to know about it, and it's good to be aware of it, and it's good to have those skills. They are important, but we employ more people who are people, like customer success managers, and we do coders at Adobe. And I know that's the case at Microsoft as well. And I know that's the case at Apple. And I know that's the case at Google. Coding is great, good skill to have, but not essential to be in the IT industry. I have a passion for design. Oh, wow, quite a good spread. Most of you in the agree side, tell you what, if you've got a passion for design and coding, wow, you are actually very, very employable straight away. And you should start thinking about creating your own little business, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm encouraged to use Adobe applications at my school. I'm very pleased to see that 4 of you agree that you are encouraged. It's a little bit discouraging to see that quite a few of you are not encouraged to use Adobe applications, especially when New South Wales is probably the one state in the world that has the most access to Adobe tools in their schools. So that's really cool. Yeah, look, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Let's move on with this presentation so we can share some of the interesting facts that I have. Little activity first though. Who's behind the blue wall? And Calvin, if you can publish any answers that come up as I reveal the blue wall. Who is that person behind the blue wall? Who is it? And we see, I'm looking at the Q&A chat now to see if we get a response. Should be able to start making out who it is. I did this with a group of primary school students yesterday, and they thought it was the Queen at this point. Well, no, it's not the Queen. Someone considerably younger, and we've got someone saying it's Billie Eilish. It absolutely is, and I'd love to share a little bit about what we're doing with Billie at the moment.
For me, creativity starts with what ifs. Like, what if it takes place in a white void? Or maybe beige? No, black. What if there's fire? Did that already. What if there are some old cars? Or not? Let's see that in slow motion. Yeah, it's too much. What if it's in suburbia? That's not right. What about my look? Meh. That's cool. What if it happens in the rain? Yeah, this is it. Now, create what's true to you.
Tell you what, we've done 3 projects with Billie over the last few years. She's not even 20 years old yet, and yet she's had some great collaborations with us, encouraging people to be creative. She's a great example of someone who at a very young age has worked out what she's good at, what her passions are, and she's developed those passions into a job. Been really impressed with her and her brother Phineas, who have both discovered that they had a passion for songwriting and recording, and they've both been able to be incredibly successful at developing a range of skills and turning those passions that they have into a job. One of the great pleasures I have, as I indicated earlier, is to visit schools and universities around Australia, Southeast Asia, and the USA, although I haven't been visiting too many in the last couple of years, but meeting students who are very creatively doing their schoolwork as well as turning their passions into a job. They're photographers, they're video makers, they're coders, they're graphic designers. They're not waiting till they finish school or university and getting a formal qualification. They're setting up their small businesses and their startup companies and doing school at the same time. They're turning their passions into a job. They're developing a range of skills and applying those skills while they're at school, and skills that will help them thrive in the future, no matter what they do down the track, whether it's the IT industry or whatever it is they do. Now, this concept of skills to thrive in the future has been an important part of the World Economic Forum for many years. This is a group of business leaders, political leaders that meet every 2 years, and they've been doing lots of studies over the years. Let's have a look at what they thought were the top 5 most important skills to thrive back in 2016 for 2020. So what should be now the most important for them: coordinating with others, people management, teamwork and leadership, Third most important, according to the World Economic Forum, creativity. Now, this isn't Adobe talking or Microsoft talking. This is political and business leaders from all over the world. Second most important, critical thinking. And most important, complex problem solving. Interesting. In a more recent study by the World Economic Forum, also with Microsoft's LinkedIn, they refined these as the most important or the most in-demand soft skills. And let's have a look at them. Time management, adaptability, collaboration, persuasion, and check out what is considered the #1 most in-demand soft skill, creativity. Wow. How creative do you think you are? How often are you encouraged to be creative in the work you do at school or in the work you do for fun? It's just such an important skill to be considering and to keep working on. And it's something you can learn. Now, they're often called soft skills. I like to call them fundamental or vital skills. We were actually involved in a study last year that looked at 2 million job advertisements and 2 million resumes across 18 different careers. And we found that skills like collaboration, communication, and creativity are highly sought after by up to 70% of hiring managers, but only a fraction of applicants actually featured those skills in their resumes or in their interview conversations. So when you do get a job interview situation happening for you, try to share those soft skills that you're developing now as a young person. Develop your creativity skills and share them at that opportunity, because you'll find you'll jump up ahead of other people who are just not doing that. Note that in this particular interview that you're seeing on the screen, there's a picture that's on the resume. Now, there's a bit of debate as to how much personal information like an image you should have on a resume. I tend to think that not only should you have an image, but you should have a video, a link to a video on your resume that is outlining who you are, what skills you have, and why you should get the job over someone else. That's a great way of showing the skills that you have and how creative you are. Have a look at this example.
Hi, my name's Krista Timmerman, and this is my story. I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised by the shore. Growing up, I was a classically trained singer. When I was older, I loved the flashy New York life and the gritty rock scene of Asbury Park. After some street team activities for a local band, I began to see the big picture, and I knew I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. In 2010, after graduating from Howell High School, I moved to Orlando, Florida to begin my degree at Full Sail University. At school, I studied entertainment business with my own personal focuses on branding and new media.
Such a great example of a video resume. I love the fact she hid her face. You do see her face at some point when she brings across her Facebook profile, but generally we're not there to judge what she looks like. We're there to judge what skills she has and look at all the different elements that she added to her resume. Now, to do that, to actually create something like that, she used a range of applications, and I'd be interested to know if you know what applications she used to put that together. And just about everything that was done there was done with an Adobe application. And it's really fascinating to see how students your age and even younger are developing skills with Adobe software so that you're able to create these amazing presentations and enhance your creativity and enhance your branding. Brand yourself in a creative way. How can you stand out from the crowd and show off your skills and passions? Well, you're lucky. At New South Wales, the government have provided every student and every teacher with the Adobe Creative Cloud. The Victorian government have done the same for all of their secondary schools as well, and quite a few of their primary schools. If you're in an independent school or a Catholic school, most of those schools do have access to the Creative Cloud. You might just need to go and ask for it, but with the government schools, the government provide it for all of their students. So make the most of those opportunities. This is what the Creative Cloud actually is. It's 23 different desktop, laptop applications. It's 23 different mobile applications. It's also 11 web apps and resources. It's a lot more than just Photoshop and Acrobat. So many different applications for you to have a look at in all sorts of creative ways. And look at all the things you can do and learn about with the Adobe Creative Cloud. I like to break up the Adobe Creative Cloud into two different categories. There's the low lift but high impact apps that don't need much, if any, real training to learn. You can create stuff in just minutes with those low lift tools. So then you've got the high-end professional tools as well. The low lift tools are like Adobe Spark and Premiere Rush and Character Animator. And the high-end tools are like the Premiere Pro and well, Photoshop kind of fits into both categories. Then you've got After Effects and Illustrator and InDesign. So you've got the best of both worlds. Tools that are used at the highest level of the multimedia industry. I love it. I'll just go back here because I just want to share how Rush and Character Animator and the Spark tools are used in all sorts of ways. I love it when history teachers say, all right, folks, instead of writing an essay for this assignment, I want you to create a video story with Adobe Spark. I love it when students say to their teachers, do I have to use PowerPoint again? As much as I love PowerPoint, and I used to teach PowerPoint, like I was teaching PowerPoint back in the early 1990s. That's how long it's been around. I love it when they use other things, more modern things like Adobe XD, to be able to create a mobile app and have a prototyped mobile app that they can share their project or their learnings from. That is just brilliant. I love it when English teachers say, look, instead of presenting a traditional book report, this time I want you to use Adobe Audition to create a podcast about the book and why you'd recommend it. Such a cool app to work with. I love it when science teachers say, let's turn this science experiment into a myth-busting story using Adobe Premiere Rush or Character Animator, real-time animation. As you move your head, the puppet moves its head. As you blink, the puppet blinks. As you speak, your voice is recorded. It is real-time animation. It's so cool. I love it when maths teachers, yes, maths teachers say, let's use Adobe Spark and InDesign to create an infographic that explains how we can solve a particular problem. I love it when geography teachers say, look, instead of writing in your journal about this geography unit, I want you to create a digital portfolio with Adobe Spark or Adobe Acrobat or Adobe Portfolio. Fabulous tool to experiment and play with. That's how teachers encourage students to be creative, enhance their creativity, and be engaged with the curriculum in really creative ways, which is so exciting, and I see that every day. Look, if you need any help, there are beginner's guides and advanced tutorials on the Adobe Creative Cloud through helpx.adobe.com, helpx.adobe.com. That's a great one-stop shop for any student out there. Beginner guides to full-on advanced master classes. If you're new to the world of Adobe, or if you're just wanting to get a quick video story made or a quick poster or a quick web page made, check out Adobe Spark. It is so cool. It's totally free. In fact, it's free for every school. Even if your school doesn't use Adobe, they can grab access to Adobe Spark and look up spark.adobe.com/edu teachers. If your school doesn't already have it, you can get it for free, and just check out that link. That'll explain a bit more. For any teachers who are out there, last year we launched the Adobe Creative Educator Program. We had 15 professors and PhDs and other experts help us build these courses for teachers to enhance their understanding of the importance of creativity. And we're over 30,000 teachers now who have at least started level 1 of that course, that badging program, internationally recognized badging program. Well worth getting involved in that. And the Adobe Education Exchange, teachers, edx.adobe.com, we just hit 1 million teachers in July this year who are part of this particular program. As I mentioned earlier, creativity has consistently been one of the most important skills for you to develop and foster as you as you thrive in the future, no matter what you do, whether you end up in the IT industry or any other area of work, anyone can develop their creative potential. Creativity and creative thinking can be learned. Even if you feel you're not naturally creative, and Adobe have the tools to help you. The only time we don't want you to be creative is when you're learning accounting. That's the only subject we kind of don't want you to. On that note, there's this code. Scan that to get the prize, and I'd be fascinated to see if you can answer the question that's within that form to potentially win one of the prizes. Oh, I don't want to go over time, so Geraldine, can you just let me know if there's some key questions there while the students are hovering over that? We might want to keep the share screen up there if that's possible, Geraldine, for those who weren't able to get the QR code, and then Kelvin might be able to put the link as well into the chat. So Geraldine, any questions for me?
Yes. How can I write a resume that will appeal to employees in this field?
In which field?
For Adobe, I'm assuming.
Adobe, it's a bit of a misconception that you think if you're good at Adobe tools, you work for Adobe. Well, if you're good at Adobe tools, you could work in all sorts of industries, from graphic design to film to television to journalism to the print industry. Oh my goodness. Our tools are used all over the world in all sorts of industries. The reality is, if you want to work for Adobe, you kind of have to be good at sales and marketing. So I'm not sure if that's kind of where you're at, but doesn't matter what you end up doing. If you can have a creative resume and have a link to that video that's similar to that, or even just a way of standing out from the crowd. Like I get, every month there's about 100 resumes we have to go through to employ someone. And if they've got a really creative one, they will jump up to the top of the list, almost guaranteed an interview if you've got a creative resume. So keep that in mind.
So would having a degree in teaching alongside a technical degree enhance your employment opportunities in the IT industry?
Oh, look, teachers are recognised as people who work hard and they're good team people and they can communicate effectively. So teaching is a great background for all sorts of industries for sure. But if you don't want to be a teacher, it doesn't mean you're not going to then move into the IT industry. It's not a prerequisite by any means. It's just a nice way of learning lots of good skills. But if you are a good teacher and you want to be a teacher, I'd encourage you to stay on in the teaching profession because it is such a valuable profession and so important as well.
Yeah. What entry-level jobs offer the best opportunities for learning?
I think every job there's opportunities for learning. It's up to you to look for those opportunities. Even if they're not provided for you by your managers, there are so many ways that you can learn these days. You don't have to wait until you get a job either. There are so many things you can do on the internet to develop your skills and get micro credentials for free or go and pay for courses and just build up your resume so that you look amazing. Get lots of badges for different things that you do. And that looks great when we're looking to employ you.
Yeah. I think we only have time for one final question. What else are you passionate about besides work, and do you have any hobbies?
Look, I'm passionate about my family. I've got a daughter who's just got engaged. She's getting married next year, so it's a really exciting time in our lives at the moment to prepare for all of that. I love music. I'm a musician. I like composing music, and I do a lot of video editing. And most of the music that I do for my videos, I create myself. So that's a hobby of mine.
Well, thank you for that presentation, Tim.
Thank you very much, Geraldine. It's a great pleasure. And folks, make sure you keep being creative. See you later.